reminder that due to public meeting law, our meeting is being recorded. So just keep that in mind. So if we could start with a review of the meeting minutes from July. I'll give you a few moments to review those and give any comments on those. Do we have any questions or comments on those minutes? Could I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Move.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That would be me, Oswaldo Bernal.
All right. Thank you, Oswaldo.
Colombian native.
Can I get a second, please?
Teresa, second.
Okay, I think I heard Rehana first. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, meeting minutes are approved then. We'll go on to public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment today?
It doesn't look like we do, no.
Wow, what a change. All right, moving right along then. Ahmed, you are up for cultural sharing today.
Hi, everybody. I don't know if everybody know, I'm from Iraq, and with my size, so that means I love food, making food. So today we will talk about culturally food. We call it masgoof. It's a fish, and we make it like in different way. Maybe just in Baghdad, as I know, at least, maybe I'm wrong. We do the fish in that way. We call it again. We call it masgoof. That means we open the fish from the back, not from the stomach, and we open it like book. And I put olive oil, Himalaya salt, and we don't use like typical charcoal to grill it. We use like actual wood. So I will show you a video. Let me share my screen with you guys. Does anybody see my screen? Did you got my screen? Hi guys.
Yes.
Sorry, I know it's look like very delicious. This is culture food in the Iraqi way. We call it masgoof. So we open the fish as you like, or as you see guys from the back, and we put it in the basket, and we put some Himalaya salt and lemon, olive oil, and that's it. And we keep it away from direct fire. So this will be ready maybe within half hour. And this is just the Iraqis do fish like this. We call it Iraqi masgoof. And it's very famous, it's historical. And if you go to Baghdad one day, you need to visit some restaurant. They are specialists with masgoof, and they do this very popular food in Baghdad. Even there is like a street, almost like 3 miles. They call it Abu Nu'as. It's all the restaurant. It's a specialist with masgoof. I hope you are with me right now, guys, and you will see how much delicious this fish is. By the way, I fish, all these fishes. I mean, I hunted by myself. So this will be super delicious. See you later. And now this after being ready to serve. And now guys, you can see it's ready to serve. Bon appetit. Enjoy. So, I apologize, guys. I think I make some people hungry right now. So again, like this is very popular and very famous in Baghdad, and now start like many Iraqis who's like being refugees and immigrants in Europe and United States. They start to open some restaurants specific, like even I visit in London a big restaurant, like 3 levels, restaurant called Mazgoof. So one day maybe after like the pandemic, we can have a picnic or let's do a retreat, and I will bring Mazgoof. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Ahmed. That was great. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ahmed?
I actually do.
Okay, Oswaldo, and then Councilor Mitchell.
What type of fish is that?
Carp.
When you cut it open, does it take the bones out, and so it's all boneless right now?
No, because like some bones is super small. It's not like salmon, you can just take it out. It's so hard to get everything out. But I honestly, I got bigger more than those fish. When it's bigger, the bones is bigger, so you can remove it easily.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that.
You're also welcome.
Oswaldo, you got another one?
How often do you invite people to eat that kind of fish?
To be super honest,
I'll wear a face mask.
to be honest, like my wife sometimes like she's like being not mad, but because at least once a week I have like friend. They, by the way, let me tell you a secret. I don't eat fish. Yeah, I go fishing. They told me I'm a professional with Mazgoof, but I don't eat it.
This is Manije. I wanted to ask, before Oswaldo's question, I wanted to say, do we really have to go to Iraq to eat that? You are so close.
No, like one day I hope everybody will visit Baghdad because it's like
Yeah,
historical place. But my house is open to anybody, guys, to come with me, go fishing, and we'll bring the fish together and open it together, and we will go the process together. I'm wide open to do that.
I love that.
Especially Shara, I think she likes to eat fish like this, so she missed home because they do it.
Yeah, we are doing it the same as a north of Iraq, Kurdistan part. We are doing the same thing. When I saw it, I just remember all the taste. I miss it. So I'm in. Soon I'll just knock your door. Let's go fishing, and we'll do it.
I will be happy to do that.
Thank you.
And by the way, I noticed we have 3 lakes just in Beaverton. Commonwealth Lake and Bethany Lake, and I think it's Progress Lake. So 3 of them, they have cart, and you can do fishing there. And by the way, I have license, so don't worry, guys. Everything's legal.
Any other comments or questions for Ahmed? Sounds like he's going to be doing a lot of fishing with people. All right, thank you so much, Ahmed, and I hope you have fun at your daughter's birthday party.
Thank you, guys, and I'm sorry I need to leave because I have commitment. Thank you so much, guys, and goodbye.
Ugana, I think you have a lot of feedback right now. If you can maybe mute yourself.
Oh,
Thank you, appreciate that. We are going to move right along into liaison reports, starting with Councilor Mitchell.
Hello. Let's see here. Today, I wanted to talk about a few things. And it looks like, I'm not sure if you guys got to tune into the last meeting, but right now the council is working really hard to create an operational roadmap for the new city government structure. You know, there's lots of consulting going on, lots of behind the scenes work to try and get this. We have to have everything done, up and running, and somebody ready to fill the interim city manager seat by January 1st. So I think between, you know, staying on top of everything that's current, and in addition to just this work that needs to be done, we are putting in lots and lots of time. I would say just personally, I'm probably putting about 30 to 40 hours a week in council work, and it's awesome. You know, it's a little bit intense sometimes, but it's great because you know that really in this moment you're making a big difference, and so that's really exciting. And I think it will also give the council a different voice, and so I think sometimes we want to speak out or have a platform to do so, and we don't, and so, you know, I mean, it just is what it is. And so I think it'll be a nice evolutionary development for our government structure. And anyone have any questions about that? Okay. We've selected a consultant to host some facility, or host and facilitate some community conversations. So I know that we're really looking forward to that. She seems really amazing, and she brings a lot of knowledge and experience. So I think that's going to be really great for our community. And it also gives the community a chance when sometimes people don't feel comfortable speaking out with their particular feelings to maybe elected officials or to others. So this kind of gives that safe platform for people to come and talk in. So that'll be upcoming. Just take a look at, you know, the council or the community calendar. I think it'll be posted on there. And then last thing here, I'm sure that you guys are seeing, I mean, our council meetings are, oh, Rachel?
Who is that consultant, by the way?
I think her name is Ellen Wyoming. Yeah, yep. Okay, and then our council meetings are going pretty late, sometimes like, you know, 10:45, 11. I think the last one ended at 11:06. And we're working really hard to better understand the police policies. We're working close with the police department, our community, to find out not only what the policies currently are, but what we would envision them to be as far as evolution into, you know, things that might better suit our community today. So I think there's just lots going on, and lots of emails and phone calls, but I think everything is headed in with positive momentum in a positive direction. Any questions? Okay, thanks everyone. Oh, Oswaldo?
Yes, thank you, Councilor. What's the role of the consultant? In what ways is she going to help better the community involvement, or what is the objective?
Yeah, great question. The objective is to kind of have a safe platform for community organizations to come and voice their opinions on what they feel could change in our community, whether that's police policy, government policy, whatever it is. You know, it will give them a platform to speak to, and then the consultant will also let us know and kind of, you know, bridge that conversation so it stays constructive and focused. And I think it's going to definitely be time well spent. All right, thanks everyone.
Oswaldo, you got another one?
I just have
Sorry,
a follow-up. No, I just have a follow-up if there is enough time, of course. You mentioned police. Is there a special, and I know Captain Smith will probably do a report very soon too, so I don't know if either one, but do you think there is specific or a little bit more of a focus on the police changes, hiring practices, and other things that we have been talking for a while at the DAB, and now they are actually taking center stage?
I'm sorry, Oswaldo, I missed part of your question. It kind of bleeped out.
Yeah, what I'm asking is if you think that there is a specific movement right now, just because of everything that is happening, that is focusing the efforts into changing or improving our police department.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's lots of energy. Every stakeholder you can think of, is at the table right now. We've got the police chief, the mayor, our diversity team, anybody forth to look at how things can improve. I mean, because one thing is certain, everything can improve, and so we take a look at what we have today, and even if something's just a couple years old, it might have room for improvement. And I think we're completely open to hearing, the needs of today and how our policies could complement those needs. Thanks.
Were there any other questions for Councilor Mitchell before we move along? Okay. Karenna, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do see that you're here with us today, and I'm just wondering if you would like to share an update on behalf of MYAB.
Yeah, for sure. Not much that we're doing obviously right now. But we did have our first meeting with we have a bunch of new members because a bunch of seniors graduated, and we're looking at plans that we can do this year, things that we can make virtual. So last year we worked really hard on trying to plan a diversity summit that ended up being canceled, but because we have a lot of groundwork, we're thinking that we could try to do something virtually there. We also have some ideas on connecting MYAB to political leaders within the city and within the area in general. And trying to just bring a better connection between that. And a lot of this is just like ideas that we're floating around and then seeing what can we actually do this year. So no really concrete like updates of what we're doing. But we're definitely looking at a lot of ideas. And if we do end up doing a diversity summit type thing, I'll reach out on how DAB can help with that. So yeah, that's the gist of our update.
Thank you. Rehana, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, Karenna, so how many new members did you recruit this year?
I don't know, actually. I might be able to check right now. I can check and get back to you.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but it's more than it's been in the past. I felt like a whole new board, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Karenna, how do people typically, when you're at school, how do they find out about MYAB?
So we have people, because we try to have representatives in each school. We often bring flyers, or you do like a lunch announcement where you tell everyone to apply. We often try to spread it like through our friends and post on social media. Social media is a really big way. I think generally a lot of the youth in the city spread the message about, like, I just posted about the night market thing, like trying to get people to go. So social media is, I think, the main way we spread the word about these things.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Karenna. Good to see your face again on screen.
Yeah, you too.
Moving along, we'll have Captain Smith from Beaverton Police Department with your liaison report.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. Yeah, a lot going on at the police department, as you can well imagine. As Councilor Mitchell referenced, our work with City Council primarily our chief's work, heavily involved with work sessions with council to basically answer a lot of the questions that have been coming from the many opportunities for council to listen to our community and their concerns. And so this is kind of our department's opportunity to inform the council on exactly how it is we do what we do. For example, the most recent was last week's meeting, pardon me, was last week's meeting involving our hiring practices, recruiting, and those types of things. And then there's a series of different topics that'll come up. I think the one before that, I can't remember what that was, but she's done 2 of these work sessions so far. So those have become they should be very informative for council. I'll get to some of the other things we're doing. A quick little update. I don't have a whole lot of stuff going on in regard to our community engagement involvement because of COVID, but we are planning one event, which is our Shop with a Cop that we do every year. That's coming up on Thursday, the 20th of August. I think that's a Thursday. And that's going to be done a little differently than we've done in the past, just because we have to be careful with our COVID practices. But we're still going to be able to help about 30 kids with getting prepared for school. And it's going to be a little bit different because school may not be the same for everybody. So we're changing it up a little bit. But all this is done with donations from our community. And then it's our police officers that volunteer to participate in this, where we pair up an officer with a youngster who's in school, who's underprivileged in one way. These are either brought to us from outside groups, or these are families that were identified through our work with the police department. We identified there's a need. So this year it'll be about 30 kids. So we're excited to be able to still do that. We are a healthy department, still no COVID-related health concerns here at the police department. You'll see our officers are wearing masks more than they were in the past. We wear masks anywhere outside of our offices now within the police department, and anywhere we go in a public building, in a public space. If you see an officer not wearing a mask, they should be, but keep in mind there are times when things develop quickly, or someone's approaching them or flagging them down, and there have been times when things are dynamic that they're not putting a mask on, and that's the only time they should not be wearing one. They should put one on as soon as it's practical, but you got to keep in mind in light of police work, sometimes things happen that take a priority over getting the mask on. So other things that are new, we just had 2 retirements, a couple of our officers each with somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 some years of experience just recently retired. So a lot of experience just went out the door, but these are both officers that had a remarkable career at the police department. Officer Mike Rowe and Officer Jeff DeBolt, huge contribution to this community and this police department over their career. I want to touch real quick on a couple things. I'm sure you're going to have some questions, but let me run through what we've been doing with HTAG. The chief and I participated with HTAG on last Wednesday evening, and we are, I believe, on the 2nd of their series of inquiry sessions with us. And so each one has a topic. This last week was transparency and communications. And so in preparation for that, the chief provided the HTAG, that's the Human Rights Advisory Commission, in case anyone wonders. I think you should all know what that is, but I thought I'd let you know. With a whole bunch of data information, which included our organizational chart, a sample schedule of what a recruit police officer's training schedule is going to look like for the next upcoming police academy down at the Oregon State Police Academy. Our 2019 stops data, which I shared with DAB a few months ago, or the chief came in and shared several months ago. we should be expecting to see our 2020 stops data here in the next few months. That should be interesting to compare to last year. A presentation on our complaint process and what that looks like as far as reporting, investigations, and dispositions on our different, on our complaints, both in complaints, the most of which are generated internally, but some of which are generated from external. Traditionally, more of our complaints come in from the internal than external, believe it or not. And then some are third-party complaints, very few. And just so you know, if you're answering questions on the text, I can't see them because I'm operating off my phone. So if there's questions, we could cover those. Let me just go over a couple more things really quick that came from our work with HTAG. Also presented to HTAG was a comprehensive presentation on our use of force. That includes documentation, data collection, and record keeping that we've done for decades on use of force. But over the last probably 10 years, very comprehensive record keeping on that. Reporting criteria and policies for physical control and use of force, because there is a difference, and we document our physical control and our use of force. 2019 use of force summary, 2019 analysis of force techniques and tools used, because we keep track of all that stuff too. Beaverton Police Department's use of force trends for the last several years. It also encompasses injuries, mental health component, intoxication nexus, or criminal nexus. So very comprehensive, tons of information is available. And you know that I've shared over the years, I've shared these types of reports, and I'd be happy to do it again as we have new members and information needs to be freshened up. So in the future, if you guys want to report on any one of these topics, happy to either bring you the data and present on it, or if you'd like, I can bring in our professionals and actually put on a 15, 20-minute crash course on use of force, for example. Happy to do that as we evolve. So that covered the inquiry session. Then we participated in a little exercise with HTAG, which they call the fishbowl exercise, where members would throw out words, ideas, stories, and then the chief copied down just keywords, things that she pulled from their stories, their concerns. For example, fear, dissonance, availability, access, just different thoughts that came from the individuals. And so it was a good exercise and a good opportunity for us to share. So that's the wrap up. I don't know how much time's left, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Anyone?
Who else?
Oh, of course.
If it's not me, who else?
Hey, I actually made a note. Go ahead.
I like to take a look at that note. I think I mentioned a little bit of this to Councilor Mitchell, but I guess I am interested to know in those conversations, especially you mentioned something about hiring practices. You and I and the chief, we have had the opportunity to talk about this for several months, if not for a couple of years. But with everything that is going on, again, you think it's taking a little bit more of a front row seat now, a little bit more importance to take a look at what the hiring practices are and some of the probably just programs that will need to be in place to hire a more equity, diverse force. That's one part of the question. And the other one is, because of the same reason, everything that is happening, and I hope it's not the case, but do you think that now with the perception that the excessive use of force, the perception out there in the community, that if you encounter a situation with a person of color, that you think that there's going to be a little bit more resistance just because of everything that is going on, and that is actually going to make things worse?
Well, let me address the hiring. Let me address the hiring issue. So primarily, I think right now we're still only into this whole issue that really has been brought to the surface, right? I should say again, because we've been through this, and from our lessons from 2015 or 16 or different incidents that have shaped policing over the last few years, you know, these same issues have come to the surface. So right now, I think what we're doing is, like I mentioned earlier, is a lot of informing. You know, listening was really what we needed to do at first, right? Tensions are high, people are concerned. So we need to be careful not to be trying to tell people what they think they want to hear. We need to really truly listen to what the concerns are. And those concerns are those of which you just brought up. How are we going to make sure we're hiring the right people for the job? How are we going to make sure that we can come up with the police department that represents our community, right? Things we've been talking about for years and working in that direction. So are we going to be changing the way we do things? You know, things may evolve. Oswaldo, things have evolved and they will continue to evolve. But we're not going to put the brakes on what we've been doing here at Beaverton Police Department and necessarily switch gears until we find out if we have a problem. So like I've explained to many people, including this board, is every police department is different. Policing in Beaverton is different than policing in Portland, policing in Cottage Grove or Seaside, Oregon, or, you know, policing is different in different communities. Hiring practices are similar, but different. And I'm proud of our hiring processes and the results we've received and the input we've gotten, or the feedback rather, we've gotten from those that we've hired that tell us that the process which they went through to get hired at the Beaverton Police Department was a standout from what they've experienced in other departments. And that is good to hear. We do things a little bit differently in the way we operate a process to try to create a more sense of community instead of making it a paramilitary, us versus them, come on in, we'll tell you whether you know, fit or not. We're about bringing folks in, introducing them to our community of our staff, getting them an idea of just what kind of people we are, and then we put a process together that allows us to get to know them. So I try not to be defensive in these exchanges, but when it comes to the hiring processes that we've been putting in place, I think it can be a little bit defensive of how we're operating. We're doing a good job, and we're trying to, recruiting, as I've always said, is our critical component. We have to recruit the diversity. We have to reach out and find people of color and people of different communities across the country, not just here in our city, as much as I'd love to hire locally, but we're recruiting across the country. And we have to find people that are willing to do this job and want to do this job. And there are cultural barriers to police work, to hiring police, to recruiting police work. There are some people in some cultures that, and you and I have had this conversation, that policing is not necessarily noble work for some cultures. And that's a barrier we need to break down, because it could be that they don't understand policing, or maybe they're trying to relate policing in the United States or parts of the United States to policing they're familiar with from another country, for example. We're not a national police force. We're made up of hundreds and thousands of small individual police forces, and they're all different. So that's, I think I've kind of beat that up, but that's kind of what we're facing. And you know what, right now, we have a list of people that we're ready to hire once we are prepared to hire again. But so we're good. We have a kind of a roster, if you will, people that still want to come work here, and people of color and people of diverse backgrounds. And we just hired 6 people in the last few months, a diverse group of individuals. And that's really exciting, given the the current situation. And, you know, as long as it's popular to beat up on the police, and as long as it's popular to want to abolish the police, I don't know who would ever want to come work here from any walk of life. So what we need to do is we need to heal. We need to make commitments to be flexible and to be willing to change, which we are absolutely at the Beaverton Police Department, willing to learn, willing to listen, willing to adapt. And until we can do that and the community can heal, we're not going to have a lot of success in recruiting people that are going to want to do the job. So that being said, I'll answer a quick answer for your persons of color. And are you asking? We get involved in an incident of a person of color, and perhaps we're exercising a level of restraint that's not safe, or are we exercising just a level of restraint in general because we're facing a person of color? And I'd have to say, and I'm not on the street every day, but I'm sure that crosses people's mind to some degree. I know when I drive around and I see particularly a Black person, I can't help but realize that if I'm interested in what this Black person is doing, am I interested because of the behavior, or is someone going to think I'm interested in this person because merely that they're Black? I know where my heart is, and I've always policed based on behavior and what I see. But in my head, I know if I get out of the car and I contact that person, or I get on a call and it's a white officer standing in front of a Black person, the people driving by, in my head, I know they're thinking something. They're concerned about that. And that's just something that I know I feel, and I'm sure other police officers have to mentally consider that whole dynamic. It's definitely strange. And only because this is what's going on right now, or in the past, I wouldn't have given a moment's thought. But as far as when it comes to use of force and control tactics and those types of things, you know, we're gonna act as in the best interest of the community, the individual, and the officer is gonna want to be safe. So, yeah, I know that that's the case. I think they call that a Ferguson effect, when there's a concern that officers aren't going to engage for fear of scrutiny. I hope our officers are making wise choices, good decisions, and that aren't going to compromise their own safety for optics. Thanks, Oswaldo.
We have a couple more questions. I think Councilor Mitchell and then Karenna.
Sure.
Councilor Mitchell, did you want to go?
Sorry, I thought there were, Captain Smith, have we had any officers resign as a result of the current environment, and have them note that?
We've had a couple of we've had one resignation, and it didn't have anything to do with, actually, no, I take that back. We had a couple resignations. Some people with quite a few years of experience, and they didn't cite that necessarily as a reason. I know that there are people that have decided to retire. Again, I don't know that they necessarily cited that as a sole reason. Mainly, people are eligible to retire. We've got quite a few people here that are eligible. I'll speak for myself, and this is a group here that most of them know me very well. I'm eligible to retire. And it's tempting sometimes to just say, you know what, this is a lot to deal with. My kids are going through a difficult time because they're forced to check a box, you know. If you don't hate cops, you're racist, kind of thing. And they're very conflicted. They know me, and they come from the most diverse school in the Beaverton School District. And it's a tough place for them to be in this environment with social media and the pressures of all that. So, is it easy to think, you know what, I can retire right now. I can send an email and be done. But I know a lot of people, and I've talked to another officer, and I overheard someone say the same thing. I'm eligible. I don't want to leave right now. I don't want to leave when it's not popular to be a police officer. I want to go out when things are better. And that's exactly how I feel. It comes with a lot of pride in the work. And I speak for, I know 147 other officers. There's a lot of pride. We put a lot of work and effort into this profession, and we think of it as a profession because it is. This isn't just a job. There's a lot to know. It's a very challenging job. It takes a lot of courage to do this job. And we don't want to just walk out because times are tough.
Thank you.
Karenna?
Yeah, so I'm sure you've seen all the protesters around downtown Beaverton, probably near the station or the new public safety center. But I was wondering if the police department has tried to extend like a line of communication to the demands of the protesters, or if there's a way for protesters to do that to the police department to try to see some specific demands that they have and get those reforms made.
Well, if you're referring, we had a protest last Friday. It was a high school group organized it, I believe. And we did reach out. We had a dialogue with the organizer. Primarily had to do with safety and what they would like from us, and as far as to make their protests safe. And so names were exchanged, phone numbers exchanged. The dialogue is open. And now I don't know, I can't tell you for sure whether the invitation was there. Hey, call us up. Let's talk about these issues that are important to you. But I have, as you guys know, invited people to contact me individually. This came up again on HTAG with a gentleman who called in and said he had ideas for opening dialogue between the police department and the community. And we've always been accessible to the community, whether someone picks up the phone, calls non-emergency dispatch and wants an officer to come out, officer could show up at your house, or you can call and talk to a police officer. You can call the police department here into our records division and ask to talk to a police officer. Or in my case, where I've met with individuals who want to have a more in-depth conversation about police work and the work that we do. So that invitation is there. What I'm trying to do is come up with another process, much like Coffee with a Cop. That's another platform where individuals can talk to the police. And generally the people that are at those events are police officers or commanders who can make decisions and can affect change. And so those are the people that are probably best to get in front of. So yeah, I have talked to my staff in the community service division and told them I want to create more capacity for us to do some of that kind of work. And one example of that is we've been doing shred events where we 4 times a year, we have people come in and we shred all their documents, and we spend a whole Saturday dumping paper into a truck and grinding it all up. And it was a great way to publicize the importance of protecting your important documents. But I've come to realize that we've been doing that for a decade or more. And we need to create capacity to do something else. So I've mandated that we're going to discontinue doing shred events so that we can open up that time and the resources to come up with events or opportunities for us to engage with people, whether that's engaging with people who have concerns and demands, or engaging with communities of color who feel like there's a trust disconnect. That's where I want to spend time, and that's what we're going to be doing for the next, as soon as we can start to engage again one-on-one. But this is where we're moving to. And that is a significant change, and I plan to get that started.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Smith. And I know we have a couple more people who want to add additional questions or comments, and we really need to move along in our agenda right now. So I would highly encourage anybody who does have any additional questions or comments for Captain Smith to email him directly, or you can even add it into the chat box, and we can take a look at that later. And,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm sorry, and I get long-winded when I talk, and I really apologize for that. When I'm done, I'll look at the text. I'll write down the questions that are in the text group, and then I'll try to address those with Alexis and try to get them back out to you. Okay, I'm gonna have to take off in a little while, so I'm gonna disappear in a little bit.
Okay, thank you. That's perfect. We are going to move on to our last liaison report. Teresa is going to give us a report on HTAG.
Yes, hello everyone. I will try and make this brief. I provided Alexis with information on the current COVID-19 eviction moratorium. It was in your prepared documents. I also just want to briefly say that the Project D has been approved by City Council and their proposal summary has been made public. This falls in with the affordable housing 5-year goal. If you did or did not read the 5-year housing action plan, it's okay. So a part of the implementation for the Metro Affordable Housing Bond dollars was to create 215 units of housing with 89 deeply affordable units. So with this new project, there are 3 proposed buildings with 164 units combined. One whole building will be restricted for seniors because of the demand that the community shared to provide more housing specifically for our aging population, at least 12, possibly more. We're still having discussions, but that 12 units will be deeply affordable units with a 30% area median income, or AMI. And they hope to start construction in the middle of next year, so June or July 2021 to break ground, which is exciting. And they're starting opportunities for feedback on design, concepts, and residential services needed. So with residential services, they're talking about amenities that will go into this affordable housing complex. So we're talking about parks in the area, possible pool, right? Like, and I was like, give us all the amenities. We want it all. We want parks and pools and playgrounds. We want microwaves in our apartment complex and washers and dryers. We want it all, right? So all the amenities you can give us, give it to us because we want it. So yes, that is a very brief, high-level summary. Once again, please refer to your attachment on the COVID-19 eviction moratorium. And if you have questions, please ask them in the chat box so we can move along in our agenda, and I will try to answer any questions you have about affordable housing or questions on the new law that applies everywhere in Oregon for housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, and thanks for providing that document ahead of time as well. And I know we have a presentation on the agenda next. We're going to loop back really quickly to public comment because there was an issue with the link before. So I'm gonna ask that anybody who is providing a comment limits their comment to 1 minute. And I'm gonna ask that Alexis helps to facilitate this portion of the agenda.
Sure, yeah, so if you are on the call and you are able to put in the chat, if you are a member of the public and you'd like to speak, please go ahead and do that. And if you're on the phone and aren't able to do that, then you can then you can pipe in and say you would like to speak. I do see that we have Kathryn French first that is ready to give some comments. So enable her mic first. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Whoops. You can hear better about that. This is really a question for Councilor Mitchell, and that is, out of these work sessions and other information that you have got from citizens and groups, what policies are you prioritizing for change within the police department?
Good question, Kathy. I think right now we are examining them all, especially like use of force. That's probably first and foremost, just given the most current events. But we're really trying to get not only the depth of everything, but the breadth. We want to make sure that we, you know, from start to finish, everything we can possibly cover, we are. So that way we're taking a comprehensive approach.
And but my question was really very specific. So I'm asking you personally, what would you prioritize out of your heart that you are seeing is going on?
Good question, Kathy. I have to say the approach that we're taking is exactly, I would not prioritize one thing over another right now because I'm going with the demand of what needs to be addressed. And so I don't want to compartmentalize or box myself into having this preset agenda. I want to be fluid. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm agile to all the demands that are, you know, needed to be addressed right now. So that is why I'm just staying open and, you know, flexible, because everything, as you know, from COVID to, you know, civil unrest is changing from day to day. And I have to have an open mind every day in order to be open to what needs to be done.
Thank you, Kathryn, for your questions. And thank you, Councilor Mitchell, for your responses. Just going forward, this is a platform for just, we're just gonna have public give comment, and we're not gonna actually have responses in this moment. If there are questions for specific people, that person can take that question or comment with them and respond.
Awesome, thank you, Rachel.
And it looks like we have Pedro next. Pedro, I have enabled your mic, so go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Rachel, for clarifying that, because I think I would have picked a different question before, but I also would like to direct this to Laura Mitchell. As you know, I called in last week to City Council to talk about the CAHOOTS model. And I would like to get where you stand on CAHOOTS or like a similar model that's being implemented now in Portland with the Portland Street Response. So I guess there's a couple of things. Have you been able to research anything about CAHOOTS and how it's a non-armed response to medical issues and mental health issues? And specifically, what are your thoughts on how it's a cost-saving measure? I know because of COVID, we're going to be strapped for cash as a state and as a county and as a city. So when we're talking about cost savings, the CAHOOTS model has been shown time and time again to save a lot of money through the police expense by providing alternative services that the police just aren't trained to, and it's just too much on their plate to respond to things of mental illness and things of that nature, because what CAHOOTS does is provide a highly specialized, highly trained, non-militarized approach to these things. So 2 questions there.
Thank you, Pedro. Is there, oh yeah, and I'll just say, I don't see anybody else. Is there anybody else that wanted to give comment from the public at this moment? All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Rachel. We don't see anybody else right now.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Kathryn and Pedro, for your comments as well. We're going to move on to our presentation about the downtown equity strategy. We have 2 fabulous staff members from the city joining us today, Rachel and Cadence. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn it over to you guys.
Thanks, Rachel. Most of you I've met before, but just for those who I may not have met before, my name is Cadence Petros. I'm the Development Division Manager at the City of Beaverton. And with me this evening is Rachel Thieme. She also works in the Community Development Department in the Economic Development Division. And Rachel and I are really excited to talk to you about the ground floor, very kind of beginning stages of some important work that we're embarking on, and we hope that the we includes the Diversity Advisory Board. So We hope that this is a topic that very much interests you, because we're very much interested in your ongoing participation and feedback. So more on that in a little bit. Rachel is going to talk mostly about the nuts and the bolts of the downtown equity strategy, but I just wanted to tee it up for you all. And I'm not sure, can you see Rachel's screen? Oh, she's just saying the screen sharing is frozen. So we do have a PowerPoint. I think you received it in advance. We'll see if it unfreezes. But if not, we'll wing it, and you can share, walk along on your own with your own version. The downtown equity strategy is a long time in the making. And the parts that I want to focus on before I turn it over to Rachel, there we go. Excellent. Is the idea that it's not just about the heart of downtown, although that is a very important component. We also know that there are areas immediately adjacent to downtown that could be negatively impacted by our revitalization efforts, just because of development pressures. We've seen it time and again throughout the United States. And so we are also expanding the area of concentration and focus to the area south of 5th Street all the way through the Allen Boulevard corridor. That's a really important point that I wanted to emphasize, and also to say that the things we do in one area might be a little different than we do on Allen Boulevard, because we want to make sure that we honor not only the Allen Boulevard corridor study, but also the different nature of those two neighborhoods. And the time is really ripe, because the Urban Renewal Agency, Bureau, you'll hear that acronym a lot, recently issued $55 million in bonds. And so that means in the next 5 years or so, that agency is going to spend a lot of money. And this downtown equity strategy focuses on urban renewal funds, but also planning efforts and capital improvement projects, both in that urban renewal area, but also in the Allen Boulevard area. And Rachel's going to talk to you about our 3 prongs that we've got as suggestions so far. But really, the draft charter we sent today and the discussion that we hope to have with you really is the beginning. And we have some ideas, but what we really want is to solicit feedback from you all, as well as the broader community, to understand what you all think are the appropriate steps, tools, and outcomes for this project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rachel so that she can walk you through our thoughts thus far.
Thank you, Cadence. We're having a little bit of computer trouble, so I actually can't see you guys anymore. So if anybody needs to interrupt me, please do that. We also have some discussion points specifically at the end for that I would love to have a robust discussion. So I have about 5 or 6 slides, and then really want to hear from you. But if there's something that isn't clear in the meantime, please stop me. So as Cadence just laid out, we have this pretty amazing opportunity to guide how these investments are spent throughout downtown, and to really ensure that downtown Beaverton of the future is really for everyone in Beaverton, and that involuntary displacement is, as a result of our investments that we're going to be making, is really prevented, and then minimized and mitigated in other instances. Oops. Okay, so essentially this is, I'm just going to read this first little bit, this strategy is a framework for spending public resources in a manner that recognizes that downtown belongs to all Beaverton residents, and as such it should develop in a way that is interesting, inviting, and accessible to people of all backgrounds, centering Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and in doing so prevent, minimize, and mitigate involuntary residential and business displacement. So essentially what we're trying to do is really implement these ideas so that we can provide the most benefits with the least negative consequences through the use of a racial equity lens in city policies. Let's see, so the geography here is the Urban Renewal District, which is kind of that orange or yellow outline on the map, plus south to the Allen Boulevard area. And so, as Cadence mentioned, we would really love your feedback about these boundaries. And essentially, this means that this is our project area for this project. So while the urban renewal investments can only be spent within the urban renewal area, we understand that development that takes place in downtown Beaverton is going to impact areas adjacent to downtown. Specifically the Allen Boulevard district, which is probably the most racially diverse district in Beaverton, both in terms of businesses and residents. So the three buckets, the three big things we're hoping to do with this new project is to develop policies and strategies and tools that we can use to prevent and mitigate displacement. And that, again, we're talking displacement of both businesses and residents. The second is strategies and policies and tools about proactively creating an inclusive downtown. So what are the amenities that a racially diverse city would like to see in the downtown? Does downtown represent our city? What are in terms of businesses and open space and institutions, are we actively creating a place where people feel not only welcome, but that downtown is theirs? And then the third is our improving or really redoing our decision-making process. So how do we institutionalize community engagement and the use of a racial equity lens when we are looking at any downtown redevelopment project or infrastructure project within that project area? And I think this is a really exciting piece because I think it really will change the way that the city does business downtown. And so how do we ensure that road projects as well as new housing that the city has a stake in, or new open space goes through a similar robust community engagement process and incorporates a racial equity analysis to ensure that that we are not displacing people as a result of this project, and that we are creating a place that is for everyone. So we know that community engagement has got to be a huge, huge piece of this project. And initially we are presenting these slides and our project charter that's in draft form to the existing community advisory groups. So we spoke with URAC, the Urban Renewal Advisory Committee, last week, just as a preliminary overview. We are meeting today with DAB. We'll be meeting with HTAG at the end of the month. And we'd love to know, one of my next questions for you all is how best you'd like to be involved with this project. We will be working with a consultant to help guide our community engagement, as well as helping to develop these policies and tools. We know that this is crucial, that our community engagement, not only for this project, but all these projects downtown, needs to be ongoing, but also we want to know how best to engage this group and others when there is a specific decision to be made that we need advice and collaboration on. So these are the discussion points that Cadence and I have put together. And I'll just read them, and then would love to get your feedback here. So we're really interested in knowing from DAB what would be evidence of an inclusive downtown, and maybe this, what are the amenities and the things downtown that would make downtown Beaverton really feel like a place for everyone. And then on the flip side, what do you not want to see happen? Sometimes that's an easier way to think about it. What would you not want to see downtown? Second, we want to know if the project scope that we outlined, so those three buckets, is the right way to approach this project, or if there's something big that we're missing with this scope. We'd love your feedback on the geography. And then we'd like to know how DAB would like to be engaged over time. And since I can't see any of you, Cadence or Rachel or Alexis, would you be willing to take any questions that come up?
Go ahead, Osvaldo.
Oops.
Thank you. I have had the opportunity to read through these documents and think about this for a few days. And I think obviously the displacement is a big point, but what is it going to take for that not to happen? Because I think with the investment that they are thinking about making, it may happen. And I also like to know from the agencies that are in charge of doing this, Bureau and URAC, what is the diversity look like on that staff that would actually allow you to have a different perspective? And forgive me just for 1 second.
Rachel, I'll take the questions. Are you ready, Osvaldo?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
I think that was, staff-wise, how diversified are those agencies? And
Right.
I think one of the things that I like to see, and I just go all out now, is that if in the plans of doing this and incorporating the Allen Boulevard, which I think it's obviously it's going to need to happen, because if you do not do that, then we're going to feel like you are actually putting us in a corner somewhere where we're not bother, and then everything is okay, which I think is a mistake. Instead of including that area and encouraging businesses and people who are going to be there to hire locally and hopefully provide some living wages so that they can actually continue to live there rather than be displaced.
That's a lot. So I'll start with what is a partial answer. So Rachel and I are staff for this project. We have a larger project team. So I am a biracial person of color. The Bureau board is made up of city council plus three citizen members. One of those citizen members is of Asian descent. The URAC, I don't know. I would say it's fair to say that it is predominantly white-bodied people. And so our internal staff team is broader than just Rachel and myself. But you will find that in the city of Beaverton, staff and elected officials, that we don't yet reflect the demographics of our community. That's an ongoing problem, in my opinion, and effort that we are working on. And so what I'd say, Osvaldo, is that's why it's critically important that we don't tell you what the downtown equity strategy is, but that we come with ideas and then we do a lot of actual listening and obtaining of feedback so that we can incorporate that. Because even if, quite frankly, we were majority people of color, we're still coming from 5 people's positions, right? With our 5 people's perspectives. And so regardless of our identities, the listening part is really key so that we can understand and obtain a broader community perspective. But some of this stuff's not rocket science, right? To avoid wholesale displacement, we need more affordable housing. And for housing to stay affordable, usually that means it's got to be regulated in some way, because otherwise market pressures make it more expensive. So in whatever toolkit we develop down the line, you can bet that a variety of tools to promote the preservation of low-cost market rentals and to encourage the development of additional regulated affordable housing is going to be part of it. But that's only one part of it, right? Because it's residential, but it's also businesses. And so what is it that the city is going to do to help preserve small businesses that are already there, and also encourage the in-migration of other small businesses that are serving everybody and also communities of color. We want to make sure that the amenities that arrive in this revitalized downtown are interesting for all kinds of people. And so we're going to be asking a whole lot of questions about that. And then in Allen Boulevard, it's a little bit of a different scenario, right? Because that's already a diverse and intact community that has both residential and businesses owned by people of color. And so there, it's how do we work with those businesses so that they both rise with the tide, and also they have some security so that they know that they can stay. And the same with the residential component of that as well. So I don't know all the answers, but that's at least the like framework that we're thinking about it from at this point.
Thanks, Cadence. I'd love to hear, and thank you, Isolda, for those questions. I know I want to stick with our time here, but would love it if people have any feedback on this first bullet of kind of what does winning look like for this project? What would be evidence of an inclusive downtown in Beaverton? What would you not want to see happen? Is there anything that anyone would like to share with us at this point?
I do see that Teresa has her hand raised.
Oh, great.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. So to try and answer the question briefly, although it is a lot to be said about it without a shadow of a doubt, and just to make space for other people. But like Cadence said, just to echo her, evidence of an inclusive Beaverton would be if people can actually afford to live there is number one. And it should not be a matter of, and we go back to the terms defined in the DEI plan, right, of equity and inclusion, and that equity is allowing everyone the same opportunity to make a choice to be able to live there or not. And it's not creating the opportunity with the end result that everyone will or want to. I know I certainly have no intention to move downtown Beaverton. I like my Denny Whitford Raleigh West neighborhood, but you know, that people who are currently living there, I'm talking about the people, you know, in the mobile home park that live on 117th, or, you know, people who do live on Allen Boulevard, that those people are seeing this plan and are thinking to themselves, oh crap, that means I'm going to be pushed out. And knowing that and that sense of fear is tough to see. And evidence of inclusion, I mean, you see and hear about businesses being reached out to by city staffers, and yet individuals within a 1 mile radius of the said 4 zones have not. So are we really being equitable and inclusive with everyone? You know, not everyone is being made aware of information about this in the first place. And I think, you know, just evidence of information in that respect of this downtown design project needs to be taken into account. With respect, you know, you can't knock on every single door. That's not a reality, but certainly to send one of the Your City flyers in the mail, or to have, I don't even know, the email listserv that gets sent out. That is what I would like to see. Yes. So affordable housing, boom. Information sharing, boom. And I'll just stop talking to give space for other people. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Alexis just messaged me and just to see everyone's faces, which I think is a great idea. To feel free to paste questions in the chat. And how are we doing on time, by the way? I don't want to take over your whole meeting here.
You can have a few more minutes.
A few more minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Great, excellent. Cynthia, I saw a question from you further up in the chat about how does this intersect with the BDA's DEI plan? I know that is a new effort that they're looking to launch soon. My understanding was that their focus was on their own internal organization, but I'm sure, you know, they'll definitely be a partner that we'd love to get input from, as well as they're actively working in the downtown area with businesses primarily, but also connecting with some residents and things like that. Let's see.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
My second question is about accountability. So who's held accountable for the goals in this plan that you're presenting?
Great. So so this is our first kind of roadshow with this draft document, and you know, we are ultimately accountable to City Council and Bureau, and we also want to be accountable to our community partners. And so I think at this point, we would really appreciate your feedback. Feel free to contact us afterwards if that's easier, with anything that you read or heard that you would like to help shape in this project as we get started. And then I'd love to know how we can, would you like an update on this on a regular basis? Is this something that we can kind of weave into you know, future meetings? And obviously we can, you know, do a giant presentation each time, but you know, we would love to ensure that that we're tracking this and keeping you updated with how this shapes out. Okay. Rihanna?
Oh, I saw a question earlier from Manager about the renaming streets to reflect people of diversity and colors. Is that something that you have in mind? Is that something that could happen?
I think that's a really interesting idea. I think I would see that as maybe a potential action under that inclusive downtown piece. You know, how is downtown reflective of our diverse community? And, you know, maybe not just which types of businesses is the city helping recruit and incentivize to come into downtown, but how does downtown look and feel? And that could absolutely include, you know, streets and signage and things like that, and public art. I think that was a piece that somebody else had commented on as well. So I think that's a great suggestion.
I want to emphasize here for a second that what we sent you is the charter, right? So that's basically the very beginning document that says, we have this idea about a project that we think has merit. And we took that to the Bureau board last week in discussion and got a general thumbs up. So that's why we're able to bring it to you all to see what you think and have you digest it. And then we'll have a public conversation about the charter at Bureau in September. What that will be really is just the launching off point. And I'm serious that we don't have all of the answers. So if you think that naming streets for people of color is a good idea, then just say it, offer it, and then we'll add it to the mix. And you know, we're going to have a community of ideas. And in the end, probably not all of them will be included because we're going to have some focus. But I just don't think I could emphasize enough how much your ideas and your friends' ideas and your neighbors' ideas really are pivotal in making this a successful project. Because if I just wrote it, then I would just be doing it from my own personal lens. And what, you know, I think I'm a great person, but it would be so incomplete, right? And we need all of the ideas in order to have a plan and a strategy that we're all proud of and that we can then implement together. And then we'll come back in a couple of years after that and say, well, wasn't that cute what we decided in 2021? Let's do it 2024 way, right? Because the idea is we're on a journey. And as we continue to move forward, we will come up with better and better strategies for kind of living what our values already are, right? Beaverton already says that our values are welcoming and diverse, and that we want to be that city. And I think in many ways we very much already do, but we were doing it in the 2020 way, and we need to like keep our eye to what that future possibility looks like. And so I don't know, I just got my soapbox, but Farhana, all of your ideas. I want to hear all of them because we need them.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I know we are probably over time, so I will just respond to other folks in the chat. And then I'll also put my email address. So if anyone would like to send me an email with any further thoughts, you have the presentation in the charter. And I really appreciate the great ideas so far. I can't wait to hear more.
Thank you so much, Rachel and Cadence, for being here with us this evening. And just to reiterate Rachel's invitation to email them your additional ideas, comments, questions. I know a lot of you did that after Brian Martin's presentation last month, and he really appreciated that. And we got some awesome responses. So please continue to send your thoughts their way. We are going to have an update on the Beaverton Virtual Night Market that is happening this weekend. Awesome. So I don't know who wants to lead that. Maybe the subcommittee, Alexis, Jody, whoever wants to jump in on this, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'll give a short update from our last Beaverton Night Market subcommittee meeting. If I forget something, please, Alexis, jump in and help me. Okay, so as we mentioned before, we have 18 food and craft vendors and 6 performers. Till now, all vendors pre-record are done and they are in the editing phase. Performance records were filmed along with the mayor's message last weekend. Spanish interpreters are scheduled and closed captioning in English will be happening as well. And live filming will happen on August 14th and 15th. But the rehearsal is gonna be August 13th from 2 to 7. Thanks for Ahmed, Rihanna, Anusha, and Oswaldo for volunteering to doing the host. We're gonna have 2 live hosts for each night, leading interview spliced with the pre-recorded content of performers and vendors and their on stage. And we were looking for a few more DAB welcome video. We decided to reach out to former DAB member to submit a video as well. And desire incorporate Black Lives Matter messaging to recognize the moment without taking away from a beat tone of the event. Anusha and Rehanna work on a statement that we can review as a board. And Jody shared the final performance list and talk about how special it has been, like to invite to the vendors' home and businesses and talk more about their story behind the business. And we discussed the idea of prize giving for most people tagging in comment. We floated that the idea of prize being a gift card from the Beaverton Night Market food vendors. And now our ask for board member is to commit to be online and interact a few times during the live stream. And please try to share it in social media, let your friends, family, everybody around you to be live this night. Try to do some comment, try to answer comments when people have any question. And you can ask question as well. And that's much I remember. And Alex, if you have something else, you can jump in.
Yeah, no, that was a fabulous report back. I don't think I have anything else to add. I think those were the key points. The only one, I guess the one thing I will add is that on the staff liaison announcements, which I sent you, which I will get to in a bit here, there also was the request to, if you can jump on the chat on Thursday while we're doing rehearsal as well, that would be really helpful just as we're working out as many kinks as possible ahead of time. So that ask that Shara made for on the 14th and 15th, contributing a couple of times, but also if there's a few folks that can jump on the 13th with that link just to help us practice, that would be really great. I guess, sorry, I thought of one other thing, which is that we are streaming in English and Spanish. So if you have folks that want to watch the market and listen in Spanish, we have a second channel that's going to live stream that. And those links are all up on the website at this point with buttons, big buttons of where you push for Friday and Saturday. So you can find those there. Jody, would you like to chime in on anything? Your mic is enabled.
Yeah, just real quick. Hi, everyone, and thanks for letting me listen, and thanks for all the work you do. And Shara, that was a really great summary. I wish we were not virtual, or I had to share a screen, and I would share a picture with you of our recording the performances last weekend, which was absolutely fabulous. And we took all possible precautions, and it was just so different from what we're usually seeing. But there's definitely excitement on behalf of the staff and the people who are performing, or the performers and the vendors and all the people who are putting this event together. And we're very excited that the virtual event will be indeed what the DAB subcommittee and the larger group has envisioned with COVID restrictions. It's going to be a really good time, and I hope that everybody definitely looks at the Facebook page and at the Instagram page and shares all those things, invites everybody to come watch, and just really everybody enjoys viewing it this Friday and Saturday. A final plug for craft kits. I didn't hear it mentioned, but there were 5 vendors who participated in the craft kit sales opportunity. So those are also available, still available, and they're super cute and really thoughtfully put together. So take a look at the Beaverton Night Market website to see if you would like to purchase some of those. And thank you, everyone.
I have one right here, just FYI. This is what one of those adorable craft kits looks like. So
that is awesome. The last thing I wanted to do was just invite either Anusha or Rohana, if you want to just share the draft statement, and I think the goal here is just to check in and make sure nobody has any major objections to what's going to be shared on Friday.
I can share it.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Okay.
go for it, Rohana.
All right, so I'm just going to read it out. The Beaverton Diversity Advisory Board, as allies, raise our voices in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. We are heartbroken and angered by the recent violence and racism towards the Black community. Our nation needs to dismantle systemic racism through continuous and open dialogue with our communities. We want to affirm our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and consider them essential elements of a vibrant community. We welcome open and peaceful dialogue from our community so we can help create authentic change in our city. That's what we have, and Anusha was primarily responsible for crafting this statement. So we just need your approval, go ahead.
Yeah. I just have a quick comment on that. I think it's fabulous. My one comment is the word recent before violence and something else. I would say this is a long history of violence and discrimination against Black people. So I think I would substitute that word.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Otherwise, I think it's fantastic.
Awesome.
So something like we are heartbroken and angered by the long-term violence,
or the history of violence.
It could be like
Alex,
long history.
Long history.
Long history. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the ongoing.
Yeah, the ongoing. Okay, we can modify that. Thanks for that input, Rachel.
Otherwise, do you just need like a general thumbs up from folks about, yes, go move forward with that?
Yeah, general thumbs up would be great.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Was there anything else from anyone on the night market? That's it? Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked for that. And I hope everyone will be tuning in at some point. So the next item on our agenda is voters forum involvement. Oh, Bonnie-J, do you have a question?
I wrote the question in chat. I think you didn't see that. regarding the.
Oh, evolving. Can we say evolving? So there's another word to consider, night market team with that statement.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Monije, for pointing that out.
Sure.
Sorry, I did miss that.
Sure. That's okay. Thank you.
Right, so voters forum involvement. So we have been invited to be co-sponsor of the Fall Voters Forum by BCCI. We would be joining the Washington County Public Affairs Forum, the Beaverton Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, and the Beaverton Downtown Association as one of the sponsors of the event. It is free, and we have to do nothing to be a sponsor. We just have our name as a supportive organization of the event. It's quite simple. We have also been in conversation with them about if there's any other assistance or way that we can be supportive and partner with them on that, since civic engagement is one of our 3 main focus areas for this year, and they will likely be looking to us to help with marketing the event as it approaches, and it will be October 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. Held again mostly virtually, although I hear that there might be some ability for some kind of small public gathering as well. We'll see about that part. But they did have an ask of us. Their next meeting this month, it's toward the end of this month, they're going to be discussing the candidate pool that they would like to invite to be a part of the voters forum. And so they wanted to get our input and know what elected positions we would like to see included in the forum. So feel free to throw out some ideas now or just think about it and let us know, and I can communicate back to them what thoughts we all have here. Any comments on any of that? Oswaldo.
Do we have to?
Do we have to what?
Like participate, or is it optional? Are we already committed to being the whole? I mean, I guess I don't mind.
We don't have to. We don't have to do anything. We are not, as individuals or as a board, actually committing to do anything. The sponsorship piece is to basically just put our name on their marketing materials saying we are supporting this event. And then they will look to us as it gets closer to just ask, like, hey, can you help promote this event? If you can, that's great. If you can't, it doesn't mean that we lose our sponsorship.
Right. I think what it is a little bit interesting to me, especially during these political years and seasons, is that as we were talking earlier with Councilor Mitchell and especially Captain Mike, is you start, I think either one of the two said it, I think it was Captain Mike, telling people what they want to hear. And that's exactly what I feel these things are. All of a sudden, you start listening to people, especially candidates, talk about reforms that need to happen and measures that we need to really take into consideration for hiring more diverse. And I'm just calling BS on that, because why did they talk about this 2 years ago or 3? It's just now because it's a hot topic, because it's in the news. So I think this kind of things is what just make me a little bit upset, because I don't feel like they're really sincere in their efforts. So they're inviting us because we're the Diversity Advisory Board. That's it. It's not because, you know, our ideas matter. And that's just my personal opinion.
Just a little bit of background on that. We actually reached out to them. They didn't reach out to us. We reached out to BCCI because we know that they're another commission with the city of Beaverton, and they're the ones who put on the voters forum each time. And so one of our goals is civic engagement, or one of our focus areas this year is civic engagement. One of our goals is to try to partner and work more with other city appointed commissions and boards. And so we thought this would be a really great fit for us, and something that I think we've discussed a little bit as a board previously. And so we reached out to them to see if there was a way that we could help be supportive of the voters forum. And these, you know, were a couple of the ways that they told us that we could be helpful. One, show our support as a sponsor of the event, and two, give our feedback as to what elected positions we wanted to see be discussed in the actual voters forum. So that's a little bit of context of where this all originated from. Does anybody else have any more comments, feedback, questions about any of this that I've just talked about?
I have one.
Cool, thanks, Teresa.
So as we get closer to time, then we can try to have further discussions with them regarding, you know, if they are going to have something in person, what does that look like? Will they need people to be there? You know, I know that they always want questions to ask candidates, and you can't be specific. So you can't intend for a question to be for, you know, someone running in the mayoral race. They're going to ask each and every person, right, on whatever level of council or Washington County. So everyone's going to be asked possibly the same question. So just to make questions neutral. But if it's in person, I'm totally in. Count me in to go. I'm trying to get out of the house. I will wear a mask. Heck, I'll wear gloves, whatever. Yeah, I know my neighbors' lives too much. I need to get out. I need to get out.
Thanks, Teresa. If there's not any more thoughts right now, could I just get a general like thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down as to how you're feeling about this? I see mostly thumbs up. Okay, cool. Then this is something that we'll plan on moving forward on. And please, really, they do want to hear our feedback as to which positions we think are important to be included in the forum. So if you're not sure right now, that's totally fine, and you want to do your own research and let us know. I'm the one managing the conversations with BCCI, so feel free to send that information, your thoughts to me. And I can put my email in the chat. Let's move on now. Wow, we have so much time, so much more time than usual for this last agenda item. Updates and brief discussion. So first, let's just start with some engagement updates, kind of like we did last month. You know, what have you been doing? What events have you attended? What activities have you been involved in? Feel free to share. Go for it, Manije.
Yes, I've been going to rallies and also with the book club that we started with a group of white ladies. We didn't mean to have it all ladies, but it happened that way. So we are reading books regarding white supremacy and Black Lives Matter, And it's interesting to see how much people get their eyes get big of the facts they don't even know, that has been going just under their nose in their own county or in their own kind of state. So they become familiar with the history of white supremacy in Oregon and also globally in the whole, which is kind of it's not contained in just the nation in the United States. It's globally affecting people's lives, and everybody is talking about their goals, what they're planning to do to be more effective in stopping the violence, stopping the racism, and that kind of brightens my heart to see that people are joining. And also the complaint that we all have about the police brutality still going on, and like having police in kind of military equipment downtown Portland, and they pulled them out, but the effect is there. The other day, this is not regarding the police brutality. This happened to my friend. She is 80 something. This has to do with the white supremacy. I mean, the racism. She is Iranian. She is 80, some in her late 80s, and she lives in Portland, downtown Portland. And she was walking on the street, on the sidewalk the other day. This guy kind of put his foot in front of her and made her trip on her face. And then after that, he started beating and hitting her with sticks and kind of brutalizing. And if probably if there weren't other people helping her and kind of intervene or calling the police and all that, she would have been killed like George Floyd. And now she's so scared to leave home. She's even scared because that guy is in prison right now, and they have asked her to go and make a complaint, but she's so scared. She's not going. She said, I'm not going. I have complaints, but I'm not going to act on it because I'm so scared. And this is, I mean, every time I think about this lady, the sweetest lady I know, she's falling on her face, and she's so little. She's like me, short. And just because she was wearing cover, she was wearing hijab, and that's the only reason. And she doesn't look black or something, but this was so exactly like what happened in Max Station a few years ago, and that guy got killed because they wanted to defend that Muslim lady. So this is something that I am just making people aware of that, and that's what I've been doing. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Manijay.
Sure, thank you. It breaks my heart.
Can I say something, Manijay?
Oh, sure. Hi.
Hi. I would strongly encourage you to have a conversation with your friend about reporting that. There are people at if this happened in Portland, there are good people that work for the Portland Police Bureau. There are victims assistance programs in place there. I would strongly encourage you to have another conversation. There are defense attorneys. I'm sorry. There are prosecutors in the DA's office of Multnomah County that specialize in hate crimes. I'm confident that there could be justice served for your friend. That shouldn't happen to anybody.
Thank you so much, Captain. Yeah, because she didn't go for a report or anything. I think they're going to let him go, but I will definitely listen to you and listen to your advice. Thank you for that.
All right. If you have any difficulty, you call me. I'm happy to help.
Thank you. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Also, some good victims' rights organizations in Multnomah County that I'd have to look them up, but they might be able to help too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I guess I had a small thing to share. It wasn't Beaverton, but it was, you know, in Multnomah County. Just feel like it's important because people are going back and forth, and what impacts them impacts us. Went with a bunch of attorneys late last month to the protests, and we all got nice and tear gassed without warning. So it's no, if anyone is believing that the tear gassing is at all justified, it's not. This was the feds, so I haven't been to since the PPD took back over. But also, if anyone knows any Beaverton dry cleaners who will take tear gas out of a blazer, I would love to know them.
I have something to share, not as exciting as tear gas on my blazer, but in the school district, the BIPOC staff have been working at least once a week, if not multiple times a week, to come up with a proposal for the school district, and part of that would involve city's involvement on how to create a physically and emotionally safe environment for all BIPOC families. There's families, you know, doing their thing, students doing their thing, and staff doing their thing. So I'm feeling cautiously hopeful about the efforts that are being made all around right now.
Anyone else before we move on to staff liaison announcements? Okay, I don't think I see anybody else. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. And Alexis, go ahead with your updates.
Thanks. So I sent you all today the staff liaison announcements if you want to pull those up while we're speaking. I think most of the night market stuff was already shared, but just so you know, on the top of that document is the link for the live streams on rehearsal day on the 13th. Those aren't published anywhere else because they're just practice. So you would need to get them from that document or from me. So please do join us again and help us practice for that. And you have the links to promote the craft kits, and the regular live stream links are up on the website. I did just want to say, I forgot to say just a brief shout out to particularly to Anusha and Monica, who are both doing TV interviews or have done TV interviews in the last couple of weeks to get the word out. And I know Manije, you have also, I think, been on the radio, or multiple people have been on the radio. So just thank you all for those extra special directly from your voices promos for this event. They're really powerful, and I'm really appreciative that you're willing to step in that way, in addition to all the other ways you all are doing this work. So you may see that on Fox 12 or on Univision or on, oh, I'm gonna forget which one is merged with Univision, but
cable? Oh, we did in cable too yesterday.
Yes.
So I mean Sunday, I taped it Sunday, so it will be showing tomorrow on cable. On Univision, we don't know yet if they're doing Wednesday probably, because I'm taping tomorrow the second part. So.
Although, were you going to jump in and answer my question there?
Me?
Oh, I thought you were going to jump in on that.
Oh, I was. It was a channel 2.
Yes.
K2.
Yes, K2. Univision K2 promo stuff. So yes, so that's our night market update. I did also just want to do one other just plug that Welcoming Week is coming up from September 12th through the 20th, and we are honing in on our, the calendar is up now of events on the website, and we will have marketing materials soon to share. We have a really wonderful mix, a lot of virtual events, but a few in-person events that we hope to pull off and offer for you. Shara is leading one of those events, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Love to have the connection with the board in a stronger way this year, and we've got some really great things on there. So please save the date on those and know that there's more info coming. Rachel, do you have something to say about that before I move on?
Yeah, directly related to the celebration parade, Beaverton celebration parade. Are we submitting anything for the DAB?
That is a good question.
Because I know it's virtual, so you can just submit an image or a video or lots of different things. I thought that would be a really great way to promote us and what we do. Also would help with recruiting for next year. It really easily could be something from the virtual night market from this year, because I think the window for submissions is until August 28th, so the night market would happen before that. Just a couple thoughts.
Thank you for bringing that up. Do people want to submit on behalf of the board this year? You want to give a thumbs up if you'd like to? Looks like we got a few thumbs up. And Manije, a question or comment about that?
Yeah, I have a question. What are we supposed to do?
Well, from my understanding, the way that they're doing the Beaverton Celebration Parade this year is they're gathering submissions from community members. It can be anything from like images to a video, just like things that people are doing or celebrating, a craft, a piece of art, an event, anything, and that they're gonna put all of those together in, I think, a video to showcase on social media and on the city website and things like that. So I thought it would be a really easy thing for us to submit something for that. It's a really easy application too.
So my next question is, thank you for the response. Are we going to do it like as a send like each one of us send something in, and then you do it as a DAP thing, kind of, or is it like individualized?
I was gonna recommend doing just one group thing, but I think it's great too if people want to take this on as individuals too. But I think we should have something that's just like DAB, and I thought the night market would be a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I like the latter. That as DAP shows that we are all part of DAP or something. Thank you.
I also saw Rehana and Monica might have had comments. So
yeah, I think the theme is Beaverton together. So I like that photo that we took outside of the restaurant at the annual summit with all of us together outside that with that mural. That would be nice to submit, I think.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just to clarify, the group photo of you
group photo.
On the street?
Yeah.
Monica, did you want to say something?
I was going to ask what are you expecting to send has to be related to Beaverton? So, like something we do in the city, or we went to see, or how it is that? Because you said you're talking about sending a video, a short video or picture about what we do or how we celebrate that. parade, or I don't know? Can you tell me, explain a little more to me?
Well, as Rihanna just said, the parade theme is Beaverton Together. And so it can be anything that highlights interesting, unique, diverse aspects of, our community. And that could be featuring crafts, performances. It even says vehicles and pets. Like, it's pretty broad. I think they're just trying to gather kind of some positive images and messages from community members to show.
Thank you.
So I pasted the page into the chat if you all want to take a quick peek, and there is a link on there for best practices for submitting photos and videos. It does say if you want to submit a video, it should be no longer than 1 minute. So we certainly could, I don't know who would edit it, but we could try to work on that. But if we wanted to take a splice of Night Market, or you all wanted to put something else together, maybe there's someone on the board with editing skills, or it could just be a photo or series of photos.
Maybe you can ask the Univision people.
What was that?
Are there maybe, if the group is interested, are there maybe 1 or 2 people that want to take a lead on figuring out what to submit this year? I think that's what we usually do when you all participate in the regular march each year. We pick up a leader or 2 to help organize the group. So is there anybody who has interest and capacity to think a little more on this?
I'd be happy to help.
Awesome.
I brought it up. I feel like I should follow through. If anybody wants to help me, don't be shy.
Oh, you
help you, Rachel.
Couple volunteers.
I like to help. However, if there is some technical thing, I am really bad with technical things.
No worries.
Yeah, but I really love to be part of that.
Okay, I think I saw Manije, Rehana, and maybe Shara. Not trying to volunteer you. Okay, cool. Those are the 3 I saw. If there were more, we probably don't need more than that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for bringing that up, because it had sort of slipped my radar to ask you all if you wanted to do that. So that's great. Just to finish up with the staff liaison announcements, there are some updates around COVID-19 closures. The city overall, city buildings are currently still closed in general, but there are services remote and over the phone, and there are some limited services that are happening in person. So for example, there are passport appointments happening. There are passport services happening by appointment. There are some court services that cannot be done virtually that are also being offered, and the city library has their BCL to go program where you can come and you can make an appointment and come pick up books, and they are working on opening some computer lab hours as well, and so you have a couple of announcements about that. And then just some reminders about these virtual community events. So there's a lot of stuff happening in August, definitely the parade, the night market, and then Flicks by the Fountain is going to be virtual movie trivia nights hosted by live stream in August. So there's going to be trivia questions and prizes for folks to win if they participate in that. So those are your announcements. And Monica, it looks like you have a question.
Yes. Did you say that I can make an appointment for my passport? Good. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Is that it? Are we done? Did we do it? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's been wonderful seeing your faces and hearing your voices. And we'll see you next month. Take care.
Thank you all. Love you all.
Good job, Rachel. Good job, everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.